The news alert hit at dawn, lighting up phones across the country before most people had even poured their first cup of coffee. It was the kind of headline that made you blink twice, just to be sure you'd read it right. Trump orders demolition of White House East Wing for a magnificent new ballroom. The words scrolled across screens, almost too surreal to believe. At first it seemed like a joke, satire gone rogue, a headline ripped from a parody site. But as the details emerged, it became clear. This was no prank. It was real, and it was happening. The president wanted to replace a historic wing, home to the First Lady's offices and the White House Theater, with something bigger, shinier, and unmistakably Trump. The East Wing, a symbol of tradition and history, was suddenly on the chopping block. This wasn't a renovation, it was a gold-plated declaration of ego. The vision was less about preservation and more about spectacle, an opulent ballroom that would outshine anything Washington had ever seen. The leaked plans showed a ballroom dripping in gold leaf and chandeliers the size of cars, a Bond villain's lair if the villain was obsessed with branding. Outrage erupted. Historians mourned the loss of heritage, architects fumed at the disregard for design, and preservationists sounded the alarm. Comedians just read the headline and let the laughter roll. Late-night shows barely needed punchlines. The story wrote itself, and the audience roared. This wasn't about the country's future or the needs of the people. It was about something else entirely. It was about stamping a personal brand on a national monument, turning the people's house into a monument to one man's ambition. The move perfectly captured the Trump presidency: spectacle over substance, vanity over service. Yet, in a way, it was predictable, almost inevitable. When a man who built his empire on branding gets the keys to the White House, he sees it as just another property to upgrade, another canvas for his signature style. The East Wing plan wasn't an outlier. It was the inevitable result of a long, ego-driven journey, a journey paved with gold letters and towering ambitions. And that journey didn't start on the campaign trail, or even with the first chance of "Make America Great Again." It began years earlier at a dinner where Trump was the punchline, the outsider mocked by the political elite. That night may have planted the seeds for this moment of architectural absurdity. Humiliation can be a powerful motivator, and for Trump, it became a mission. The White House wasn't just a home, it was the ultimate canvas for his brand, the final frontier for his legacy. The demolition plan was less about history, more about legacy, his own. It was about leaving a mark no matter the cost, and in that, it was pure Trump, unapologetic, audacious, and impossible to ignore. Let's rewind to 2011, the White House Correspondents' Dinner, a night where politics and comedy collide under the same dazzling lights. President Obama took the stage and roasted Donald Trump, poking fun at his relentless birther theories and his larger-than-life reality TV persona. The room erupted in laughter, but the target of the jokes wasn't amused. Trump sat stone-faced, his expression unchanging as the cameras captured his humiliation on national television for millions to see. Many say that night lit a fire in him, a drive to seize the very power that had mocked and belittled him in front of the world. It was a turning point, a moment that would change the course of American history. He was determined to go from being the punchline to becoming the power broker, to rewrite the narrative and prove everyone wrong. Fast forward a few years, Trump returns, not as a guest in the audience, but as President of the United States, standing at the very podium where he was once mocked. But the jokes didn't stop. They just got bigger, louder, and more relentless. Late-night hosts and comedians found endless material in his every move. His presidency became a spectacle, blurring the line between reality and parody, as if the country was watching a never-ending reality show unfold in real time. What began as a quest for respect and validation turned into a performance, with Trump seemingly desperate for the spotlight and the attention it brought. The 2011 dinner became a kind of prophecy. The man who couldn't take a joke became the biggest joke of all, his rise foreshadowed by that fateful night. Not because of the comedians, but because his actions often defied satire, leaving even the sharpest satirists struggling to keep up with the absurdity. He became a living caricature, determined to outdo the absurdity every day, pushing boundaries and expectations further with each headline. The joke was no longer just on him, it was him, and he seemed to embrace it, fueling the spectacle. And the nation was forced to watch, captivated and divided as history unfolded in ways no one could have predicted. back to the ballroom. Demolishing the East Wing wasn't just construction, it was erasure. The wing, home to first ladies and presidential history, was to be replaced with a Vegas-style monument to Trump. Less halls of power, more high-roller suite. It was a worldview in marble and gold and dodo. Value measured in spectacle, not substance. Trump saw the White House not as a trust, but as an asset to rebrand. Treaties, alliances, norms, tossed aside if they didn't serve him. The ballroom was the physical embodiment of this philosophy. Reverence for history was replaced by opportunity for self-promotion. The past was disposable, the future decorated in his image. The East Wing's demolition wasn't about a new room, it was about rewriting reality. And the message was clear: my house, my rules. There's an old joke: a man builds a golden statue of himself so no one will ever forget him, believing that his legacy will shine forever in the eyes of the world. People remember him, but not in the way he hoped. Instead of admiration, he becomes a curiosity, a cautionary tale, a source of amusement. Donald Trump is that joke brought to life, desperate to carve his name into the annals of history, only to find himself transformed into a punchline for the ages. He wanted to be seen as a strong man, a figure of power and respect, but his endless need for applause and validation only exposed his deep insecurity. He boasted endlessly about his deals, his supposed business genius, but so many of those deals turned out to be hollow, empty gestures that fell apart under scrutiny. He surrounded himself with the best people, or so he claimed, but one by one they resigned, were fired, or ended up facing criminal charges, leaving chaos in their wake. The Mar-a-Lago ballroom fiasco became the ultimate vanity project. Millions spent, irreplaceable history destroyed, and the world could only laugh at the spectacle. He built his own punchline, seemingly oblivious to how the world would receive it, as if unaware that the joke was always on him. His rallies revealed empty seats, his attacks on the media backfired spectacularly, and his policies seemed to favor only the wealthy, further alienating the public. Every attempt to control the narrative, to spin the story in his favor, only made the whole spectacle more absurd and surreal. In the end, Trump became the main character in a tragic comedy, one he wrote, directed, and starred in, unable to escape the role he created for himself. And as the world watched, the script just kept getting more ridiculous, each act more unbelievable than the last. If the ballroom was Trump's taste, his use of the presidential pardon was his corruption. Pardons became get-out-of-jail cards for friends and business associates. The latest, Julian Croft, crypto CEO, pardoned after defrauding thousands. Dig deeper, Croft's exchange financed Trump's real estate deals, and money flowed to Trump's companies just before the pardon. It wasn't mercy, it was a business transaction. The message loyalty to Trump puts you above the law. This two-tiered justice system undermines American law. The public outcry was drowned in scandal fatigue, one outrage replaced by the next. Corruption became normalized, and the nation's integrity eroded. When pressed about scandals or controversial decisions, Trump's response is always the same: fake news. He doesn't defend, he attacks the questioner, delegitimizing journalism itself. By branding criticism as fake, he encourages supporters to distrust all sources but him. In Trump's world, only his version of reality matters. It's a classic authoritarian tactic: control information, control the people. The fake news shield blocks facts, logic, and accountability. Why explain a scandal when you can just call it a hoax? This assault on the press has real consequences: threats, violence, and eroded trust. It blurs fact and fiction, creating a fog of confusion. When the president tells you not to believe your eyes and ears, democracy suffers. The fake news defense isn't just a quirk, it's a dangerous attack on shared reality. For years, Trump's critics responded with ridicule, but as his power grew, the laughter faded, replaced by real resistance. Special Counsel Jack Smith leads the legal charge, methodical, unflappable, immune to Trump's bluster. Smith lets the facts speak, refusing to be baited. On the political front, governors like Gavin Newsom and J.B. Pritzker counter Trump's agenda with state laws protecting rights and freedoms. They prove power isn't just in the White House. States can be firewalls. Resistance comes from activists and citizens too, registering voters, challenging gerrymandering, demanding accountability. Trump's chaos is exhausting, his self-interest transparent. The more he acts like a parody of a king, the more people remember. This is a democracy. Standing up to him is not just necessary, It's working. The joke is wearing thin, the punchline is losing its sting, and the country is starting to turn the page.